All right, so now we are on to lesson 3.4, where we are going to talk about determining the equation of a line in a couple of different ways. So remember, again, in order to calculate slope, we can use the graph to find 2 points using the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We also know that our equation is y equals ax plus b, where a is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So determining the equation of a line for the graph below. If we are determining the equation from a graph, remember our first point, find the y-intercept. In this case, it is 2. Then we are going to pick a second point on that graph, and I can calculate A is rise over run. So this is equal to my rise is 4, and my run is 3. So in this case, it would be 4 over 3. Based off of that, I can then give my equation of a line because I know that it is y equals ax, which is my slope, x. Oops, that's not my slope. 4 over 3 is my slope, x, plus 2 is my y-intercept. If I'm doing the equation of a line given the slope and a point, we have to do math. So when we are looking at this, the equation of a line can be found algebraically using the slope of the line and any one point, not necessarily the y-intercept. So if I have the example, a given line has a slope of 3, that should be an A, and passes through the point 4, 5, where 4 is x and 5 is y, determine the equation of a line. So our first step is to write out the equation of a line in y equals ax plus b format with the given slope. So for this, I can just substitute a with my slope of 3. So I'll get 3x plus b. But I don't know what b is yet. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to use that equation and take the point that we have to then isolate b and figure out what my y-intercept is. So based off of this, we have to remember that the point given is 4, 5, where 4 is x and 5 is y. So I'm going to write y equals 3x plus b. I'm then going to substitute in 5 for y. It's equal to 3 times 4 for x plus b. Then I'm just going to rearrange that equation and isolate so that b is on its own. So to do this, it's going to be 4 equals 3 times 4 is 12 plus b. Move this to the other side, so I get negative 12. That's a positive 5. If I do the math there, negative 12 plus 5 is going to give us negative 7 is equal to b. So now I know that my y-intercept is negative 7. So if I write out my final equation, I will get y is equal to 3x minus 7, and then I am done. The next step that we are going to do after that is figuring out the equation of a line. Oh, we're just going to do one more example. Never mind, I skipped ahead. So here we're going to determine the equation of a line given a slope of y equals negative 2 over 5 and passes through the point negative 10, 2. So remember, this is x, this is y, and this is a. So I have step 1, y equals negative 2 over 5x plus b. Step 2, I'm going to substitute in 2 for y. So I'll get 2 is equal to negative 2 over 5. Negative 10 is our x value plus b. Now I'm just going to rearrange and solve. So this is equal to negative 2 times negative 10 is 20 over 5 plus b. 2 equals 4 plus b. I'll get negative 4 plus 2, which gives me negative 2 is equal to b. And my last step is to just rewrite that out as y is equal to negative 2 over 5x minus 2. That is, oops, gonna fix up that rectangle. My final answer, so the equation of my line is y equals negative 2 over 5x minus 2. Now, if I'm trying to find the equation of a line given 2 points, we're going to have to do a couple of different steps here. First one is that we actually have to find the slope. So we're going to do the same exact thing we did previously, except now we don't know the slope. So now we have to find it. So my first step is going to be to find the slope. I know that I'm given x1, y1, x2, y2. which means I can find the slope as a is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is going to be equal to -1 minus 5 over 8 minus -4. If I simplify that down, I will get -6 over 12, which is equal to -1 over 2 if I reduce that down by dividing top and bottom by 6. Now that I have the slope, I can go back to the steps I did previously. Step number 2 being I know y is equal to -1 over 2x plus b because I know a now. I'm going to pick one of those 2 points. So it doesn't matter which one it is. I'm going to use the second one because it's the one I can see from here. So step 3 is going to be, instead of y, now I'm substituting it for -1 is equal to -1 over 2. Instead of x, I have 8 plus b. -1 is equal to -8 over 2 plus b. -1 is equal to -4 plus b because -8 divided by 2 is -4. I'm then going to rearrange to isolate for b. So then I get +4 minus 1 is 3 is equal to b. And my final step is to rewrite my equation as y is equal to -1 over 2x plus 3. And that is my equation of the line. We're going to do another example of that. If Chuck goes to the gym 3 times in a month, it costs him $33.50. If he goes to the gym 7 times in a month, it costs him $51.50. Determine the linear equation that models this situation. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to figure out what is our x value, what is our y value. In this case, we'll say the times is equal to x and the cost is equal to y. Reason being is because we're going back to grade 9, independent and dependent variable. The cost depends on how many times he goes. So the times he goes is always going to be our independent variable, which is our x-axis. And the cost is our dependent variable because it depends on the other one, and that will be our y. So in this case, we have 0.1 is, if he goes 3 times per month, it costs $33.50. 0.2 is if he goes 7 times per month, it costs $51.50. And now that we've taken the information from the word problem and we've put it into what's the word I'm looking for? Put it into an ordered pair form, we can use the same exact process we just did to determine our equation. So 1 is going to be find our slope. I know a is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is equal to 5150 minus 3350 over 7 minus 3. So the difference in cost in those two was $18 between going 3 times and going 7 times. The difference in amount of times that he's gone is 4. If I reduce this down, I can divide top and bottom by 2, and I will get 9 over 2. So now my next step is y is equal to 9 over 2x plus b. My third step is to pick one of those points and substitute it in. I am going to pick the first point. So I will get 3350 is equal to 9 over 2 times, I just need to move this over because I am going to run out of space. 3 times plus b. So 3350 is equal to 9 times 3 is 27. I should have known that off my head, but that's okay. Over 2 plus b. In this case, because we're talking dollars, we can reduce that down and not just use fractions. So I am going to divide it by 2, and I will get 3350 is equal to 1350 plus b. I'm going to bring this to the other side, and it becomes negative 1350. That's still a positive 3350. So I will get 20 is equal to b. Therefore, my final equation is y is equal to 9/2x plus 20. So what is Chuck paying for his membership each month, even if he doesn't go to the gym at all? What this question is asking for is, what is b? What is our y-intercept? So in this case, if he goes 0 times, he pays $20. Think of it as like a base rate. This is often done in many different types of jobs. If you imagine having an electrician come into your house, they generally have a base rate that they pay just for showing up, and then you pay them per hour on top of that. So say I had a plumbing issue and I needed to call a plumber, they often will do the same thing. They would tell me, hey, it's $100 for me to show up to your house. Even if I do nothing, even if I show up and then leave immediately. So their base rate would be $100, which would be a y-intercept if I graphed it. And then the cost per hour would then be the slope of how it changes once we do that. Awesome. And that is the end of this lesson.